close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on
All right. What is going on, everyone? Good morning. Welcome up here this Monday. Boy, everybody is excited today. We already know, though. It's that China news. Hell yeah, here's the headline, guys. If you didn't know, the US and China are pretty much slashing tariffs for 90 days. This is quite the move here. Let's see. As we scroll down, the one thing that I saw early this morning, there's still going to be some tariffs in there. It's just that these reciprocal tariffs that are like 125% are down to like 10% now. So it says total tariffs now on China stand at 30%. So not as bad. It's a lot better for those reciprocals being 125 down to 10. Much better. Of course, there's a lot more to the deal, but I think that's going to bore you guys. You guys probably really want to see the price action overall here. Man, SPY this morning is on fire. It looks like we're looking through the window blinds right now. Poor SPY, 582.50. Rejecting back down. So a lot of people have been worried that the market might be a little bit overextended today. All right? And with the market possibly being overextended, well, you could get pullbacks, and that's kind of what we're seeing. I'm not saying that we're going to pull back all day, but that is something that I'm worried about. is that there could be some overextension there. Lots of chat today. What's up? Purdy. Howdy, Tangy. What's up, Jason? Says Team Tom. Let's get it. Mike C says, note to self. Next time a president says to buy stocks, I'm buying them. That's pretty funny, right? If you think about this, though. Imagine if Trump said to buy stocks and then screwed everybody over. He'd be hated, so I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Mike. I think that's pretty smart. Of course, not every situation, but... So glad I listened, Lethal said. Very nice. Who else bought whenever Trump said to buy? I know there has to be some more out there. Some of my favorite movers this morning were Qualcomm, Micron, and AMD. Advanced Money Destroyer. Did very well today. Invincible. Look at Micron. 8.87%. Oh my god. My sink or swim crashed. Yes, I'm calling it sink or swim on purpose. I love the app, but I don't know what it is with the crashes. Literally worked in pre-market. Grass. That spot is hurting me. Spotify. What's up, Purdy? Is this the old Purdy Plays from way back when? Fidelity won't let Mason log in. There must be some problems. You know, that's going to be one issue I didn't think about. Especially like Robinhood. Oh, you hopped in a spy put and then now you can't log in? That's always fun. Well, it's still moving down for now, which is good. Why on earth did Spotify drop so bad? Let's see. I'm trying to get my news up here. Running with my Nike on. What's up, Woo? Welcome up this Monday. Nike. Damn. They're really benefiting from that. Let's go see Skechers. Yeah. Same type of PA, not as good. They're not as fun of a stock. Not even close, but... I was curious. Spotify news, let's see. You know, I can't tell you. I'm not seeing any big reason why they'd fall off so bad. Maybe there's more info out on Twitter or something, but... The Thinkorswim news shows nothing right now. Wow, pew pew, it's that bad on days like this? That's rough. Mason goes, well, I just lost 500. Oh, shit. Yeah, Robinhood can be really brutal. Always freezes up, yeah. The thing I always see is that the people always complain that their orders never go through on time. Yeah, TOS slow too. Gotcha. I just had to restart mine, so there's definitely something going on. Hims is still hard. Yeah, it is pretty hard. Wow. Go back to the daily. Man, on him, 60 bucks is going to be coming into play soon. Yeah, lethal. I heard it's pretty good most of the time, but on volatile days. Yeah, that's true, Tangy. A lot of brokers do that, though, but some worse than others, I believe. Haven't had that conversation in a while. Been a while on that one. Back to Hims. Let's go to Micron. It actually had some action at open. Nike pulled back pretty hard just now, too. See how Hood's stock is doing. Hood's kind of tanking down. Wow. Damn, Mason. Got in, then logged you out? That's terrible. Spy still rejecting. Gonna be watching support down here around 578. It's trying to base a little bit at 579 right now, but not really going all that well. Let's go check APA. A big money play from recent. Wow. I gotta take a screenshot of this one. Finally let you in. There you go. Mason, who do you trade with again? Maybe you said earlier. I can't remember. Fidelity. That's right. Fidelity. Yep. Poor Spotify. Wow. Yeah, no crazy news. Down 6% though. Where most stocks gapped up today, Spotify gapped down really hard. Kind of weird for him. Tanji says they get good fills on Moo Moo. Uh-oh. Hey, if you get good fills, I could forego the name for good fills. What do y'all think of this fade? Pretty spot on, I'd say. Market got a little overextended. I am watching for a bounce off support, though. Possible recovery back up. That'd be nice. VIX below 20, Ray said. The VIX? Wow. That's pretty good to see. Pull back really hard again. Getting back down to those more normal levels now. On what time frame, Tanji? What do you think about ACHR earnings tonight? Archer Aviation. Last time they reported, they went really crazy and just flat. I'm going to be honest, though. I could see it being pretty good. I could see Archer having a pretty good report. A lot of their government contracts and stuff like that. I like the way the chart setup looks, but again, just don't gamble on earnings, guys. It's not worth it. Not worth it. The daily, gotcha, okay. Hey, there you go, all house money. That's how you get the dub. If you guys are just now joining up, destroy that like button. Let's go. 8 likes today, rookie numbers. Get at least like 30 going on here. Check in on Tessie. Very nice move. Watch 310 as support. If stocks pull back to fill the gap, that would be insane. Wow, really, Sean? Great. What's it mainly from, Sean? Was it from, like, calls into today or puts from open or... Gold miners falling. GDXD. Oh, gold is down a lot. I didn't even think of that. Uh-oh. Gold might have peaked out in the short term, guys. I'm definitely being aware of that right now. It got pretty high even just last week on Tuesday. Now it's all the way back down towards that dip from like 12 days ago. The metals. Go check silver. Silver actually recovered. Kind of funny. Filled the gap. It moves so much weirder than gold nowadays. For those of you just now joining up, here's the info with this China deal. They agreed to suspend most tariffs on each other's goods. The reciprocal tariffs will be cut from 125% to 10%. So now, total tariffs on China are at 30%, which is a lot lower, a lot better, right? $90-day pause. Sounds good. Hopefully they can get stuff done within those 90 days. I mean, that's a long time. That's like 3 months. I'm going to call it a deal. The start of a deal, right? They made a deal to slash tariffs for 90 days while they work on the rest of the deal. Trade up or trade down today. The opening range is huge, Pew Pew said. It really is huge. I like how SPY is bouncing right on my support, though. That's nice to see. What orb? 15 minutes? Orb. What do you mean there by orb, Yusu? Sorry about that. Maybe I'm just lost. Hugh says, art of the deal. Cloud's looking for support on Amazon for sure. Ooh. I like 205 to 206. Note this little range that I just drew out. Look at these reactions in pre-market here. This is huge. Oh, gotcha. Okay, Yusu's. It would be awesome to see that come in. Breaking that pre-market high is going to be kind of tough, though, on the SPY. Honestly. That's a pretty big level. 582.50, 583. Starting to come up pretty well off the base. 578.30. Pretty good recovery here. Gotcha, Pew Pew. That makes sense. Everybody looks at things different. It's pretty cool to hear, you know, what you look at. I can't believe just how much the SPY really gapped today. We closed Friday around like 565 and opened, well, the high of pre-market was around like 583. That's quite the jump. That's almost a 20-point jump. SPY's up 2.7%. Take the drawings away. Man, we've been seeing a lot of good action on the SPY lately as it's been recovering, though. Ever since April 9th, things have been turning around a bit. Been some better optimism. That was a big couple days right there. Wow. Merck still can't get into Fidelity. That's upsetting. That's saddening, actually. Wow. I know Mason got back in, but... Hey, nice. Sean caught the gap. That's how he got it. Nice. Beautiful, Sean. Nothing crazy, just one, you know. But it was a big jump. People knew that they were going to be talking this weekend, so I guess they didn't necessarily think that there'd be a deal, but it's great to see. I'm not sure, Clow. I'm not sure there. He could be. Yeah, he is. Let me turn it on. Do you guys want to see Trump on right now, or do we want to keep looking at the market? Let me know in the chat. He's doing a press conference with the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Trump? Oh, okay. All right. I figured. All right, let's go.
From our farmers, etc. And we agreed to that. People thought it was 15 because they were doing 15. We made it 50 because I misunderstood the 15. I thought I said, you got to get 50. Because when I asked, if you remember the story, when I asked, what are we doing with them? My Secretary of Agriculture at the time, Sonny Perdue, said, sir, it's about 15 billion and we're asking for 15. And I thought he said 50. So I said, so they came back with the deal at 15. And I said, no way, I want 50 because you said 50. They said, sir, we didn't say that. Anyway, bottom line, I said, go back and ask for 50. And they gave us 50. And they were honoring the deal. And we would call them up a lot for the corn and for the wheat and for everything. They were honoring the deal. And then when Biden got in, they no longer honored the deal. There was nobody to call. I would call on an average of once every 2 weeks to say, come on, you have to speed it up a little bit. And our farmers were doing great. I said to them, buy more land and bigger tractors, if you remember. That's what happened. But the deal was a very good deal. But the best part of the deal was that we opened up China. China agreed to open itself up to American business to go in. And it would have been a great thing, I think, for China. They would be able to see things that they haven't seen. They would be able to buy products that they had never been able to buy. Would have been great for American business. I think it would have brought unity between China, better unity between China and the United States. And the bottom line is that they canceled it the last day. We were all set to sign it, and then I went a little bit angry. I got a little angry. I said, they canceled the deal. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed, and people went over. They came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening up China, and they've agreed to do that, but it's going to take a while to paper it. You know, that's not the easiest thing to paper. But that's the single, I think, to me, some people would disagree. Some people would say we're getting a lot of money with tariffs or whatever. But, you know, especially when you add what we already have. Because remember, we're already getting the 50% on steel and different things. That's not included in these numbers. So you can add that. But the biggest thing to me is the opening up. I think it would be fantastic for our businesses if we could go in and compete with China. It would be a lot of jobs for China. It would be, I think, at a time when they can frankly use the jobs. And that's what we're talking about. So that's a very, very important element to add. So when Scott, I watched him speak the other day, and I think he didn't want to say it, but I said, it's okay to say it. Look, if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if we don't get it, it won't be a positive thing. But if we do get it, I think it's maybe the most important thing to happen. Because if you think about it, we opened up our country to China. They have very few restrictions. And they didn't open their country to us. Never made sense to me. It's not fair. And they've agreed to open China, fully open China. And I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us. And I think it's going to be great for unification and peace. China will also suspend and remove all of its non-monetary barriers. They've agreed to do that. Well, they're very numerous. But again, to me, the biggest thing that came out of that meeting is they've agreed. Now we have to get it papered, but they've agreed to open up China. It's going to be great for everybody. And third, I'm very happy to announce that Idan Alexander, an American citizen who until recently most thought was no longer living, thought was dead, is going to be released in about 2 hours, actually. And he's going to be released before the eyes of Steve Witkoff, who has done a fantastic job. I know a lot of people, they have a lot of talent. I know Steve had a lot of talent. But I know a lot of people with a lot of talent, but there's one that I thought had a special way about him, special personality, aside from being a good deal maker, had a special way about him, and it was Steve. Knew very little about the subject matter, who does, but he learned it in about 2 hours, and he's been fantastic. So I want to just thank Steve, but they're going to be releasing Idan in about 2 hours from now, or sometime today, let's say. And again, they thought he was dead just a short while ago. His parents are so happy. They're so happy. So it's, as you know, Idan's the only American citizen who's captured and held hostage by Hamas since October 7th, 2023. And he's coming home to his parents, which is really great news. I mean, to me, it's big news. They thought he was dead. So that's that. So we'll be heading there, and we'll be seeing 3 primary countries. You know all about that: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. On Thursday's meeting with Russia and Ukraine is very important. I was very insistent that that meeting take place. I think good things can come out of that meeting. Stop the bloodshed of the horrible. It's a bloodbath. But that 5,000 more, it's really much more, I'm trying to be conservative, more than 5,000 soldiers. Russian, they're not American soldiers, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine, but they're people. They're human souls, and they're being killed at levels that we haven't seen since the Second World War. And it's every week. A lot of drone fighting. It's a whole new form of warfare, and it's violent and vicious. And so that's it. I'd like to go back to China just for a second. They're very heavy on the fentanyl. We're charging them, as you know, 20% for the fact that they send fentanyl into our country, and they've agreed that they're going to stop that. And they'll be rewarded by not having to pay hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. So the fentanyl should stop. It comes from China. It's amazing. And comes through our southern border, comes through our northern border too, comes through Canada, and comes through our southern border, much more through the southern border. But so that's a very important subject to me, because everybody in this room has lost friends or people that have family members that have died of fentanyl. So there's a big incentive for China to stop, and I take them at their word. They're going to work on that, I think, very hard. And one thing, when they work on something, they get it done. So now I'm about to depart on a historic visit. Some of you are going with us to, as I said, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. Before I do, I'll sign one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this, certainly not with respect to health care, nothing even close. I'm delighted to be joined on this occasion by Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., who is doing a really good job, I have to tell you that. CMS Administrator, a friend of mine, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is an amazing guy. I was telling Bobby before, Oz had a very successful show, but it hurt his reputation. Because when you're in show business, it hurts your reputation a little bit. It's good for you, but in terms of professionalism and being a doctor, it sort of hurts your reputation. This guy went to the best schools, was the best, top of the line. Then he did a television show, became a success, made a lot of money, all that stuff, but it sort of hurt him. And you know who I compare that to? I hate to say this, but a special woman, Jeanine Pirro. She was the toughest, smartest DA, maybe in our countries, in our cities and states history, New York. She was really tough, really sharp. Then she did a show, and people didn't think of her quite the same way. She became more of an entertainment person, like Oz. Oz is not an entertainer. He's not really an entertainer, if you know the real story. And she isn't either. She is unbelievable. She was one of the strongest district attorneys in the history of New York, highly respected, very tough, went after the drug dealers at a level that you don't see today anymore. And hopefully she's given up she's leaving the #1 show on cable television, one of the #1 shows on television, period, The Five, but they've got great people left behind, but she was a big part of it. And so I equated to that. Jeanine Pirro is unbelievable. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, with a reputation that's second to none, and the job he's doing already has been fantastic. Thank you, Marty. And Director of National Institute of Health, Jay Bhattacharya, who has been, as you know, from Stanford, so highly regarded, and have all been working with us very hard on this. And the question they would ask, being a little bit new to the government aspect of it, is why doesn't somebody fight the drug price situation, meaning equalization? There's a term, it's called equalization. Nobody wants to mention that term. And I'm not knocking the drug companies. I'm really more knocking the countries than the drug companies, because they're forced to do things. But the drug lobby is the strongest lobby in this country, they say, the drug lobby. It's between that and lawyers, and they have a lot of power. But starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries, which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what, for the same drug, that what we pay many, many times more for, and will no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging from Big Pharma. But again, it was really the countries that forced Big Pharma to do things that, frankly, I'm not sure they really felt comfortable doing. But they've gotten away with it, these countries. European Union has been brutal. And the drug companies actually told me stories. It was just brutal how they forced them. And European Union suing all our companies, Apple, Google, Meta. They're suing all of our companies. They end up, they have judges that are European Union-centric, and they get rewarded 15 billion, 17 billion, 20 billion, and they use that to run their operation. Not going to happen any longer, that I can tell you. So what's been happening is we've been subsidizing other countries throughout the world, not just in Europe, throughout the world. European Union was the most difficult from what I understand. I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on? He said, so I checked, and it's the same box, made in the same plant, by the same company. It's the identical pill that I buy in New York. And here I'm paying $88 in London. In New York, I'm paying $1,300. Now, this is a great businessman, but he's not familiar with this crazy situation that we have. But he was stunned. But it was just one of those stories. And I brought it up with the drug companies, represented by somebody who's very, very smart, good person too. And we argued about it for about half hour. And then finally he just said, because they can't justify it, he just said, look, you got me. You got me. I can no longer they've been justifying this crap for years. They said, oh, it's research and development. Well, I said, well, research and development, other countries should pay research and development too. It's for their benefit. It was just one of those things. And the other countries would set a price, and they'd meet the price, and they'd say, if you don't meet the price, you can't sell it in our country. I said, well, then you walk away, and they'll call you back, and they'll sell it in the country. But now they'll have to do that. So for the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs, and we will bring fairness to America. Drug prices will come down by much more, really, if you think 59. If you think of a drug that is sometimes 10 times more expensive, it's much more than the 59%. It depends on the way you want to analyze it, but in one way you could analyze it that way. But between 59 and 80, and I guess even 90%. So when I worked so hard in the first term, and if I got prices down, remember I was the only one to ever get prices down for a full year, but I'd get them down like 2%, and I thought it was like a big deal. Well, we're getting them down 60, 70, 80, 90%, but actually more than that if you think about it in the way mathematically. And Pharma has to say, we're sorry, but we'll not be able to do this any longer to these countries that have been so tough. They've been very tough, nasty. It's trade. It's trade. And pharma is also very powerful. And the Democrats have protected pharma. This is the Democrats have protected pharma. These are the Democrats. And by the way, I just called the Speaker of the House, and I just called the leader, our leader in the Senate, John Thune, Mike Johnson. Spoke to both of them. I said, when you score, you're going to have to score two things. You're going to have to, number one, score that hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is coming in. But even bigger than that, you're going to have to score that your costs for Medicaid and Medicare and just basically pharmaceuticals and drugs is going down at a level that nobody has ever seen before. It'll pay for the Golden Dome. I see the Golden Dome is there, see? That'll easily pay for the Golden Dome. And we'll have a lot of money left over. We need the Golden Dome, by the way, in this world. Although this world's a lot safer today than it was a week ago, and a lot safer than it was 6 months ago. We had people that had no clue what they were doing. So today Americans spend 70% more for prescription drugs than we spent in the year 2000. Think of that. Our country has the highest drug prices anywhere in the world by sometimes a factor of 5, 6, 7, 8 times. It's not like they're slightly higher. They're 6, 7, 8 times. There are even cases of 10 times higher. So that you go 10 times more expensive for the same drug, that's big numbers. Even though the United States is home to only 4% of the world's population, pharmaceutical companies make more than 2/3 of their profits in America. So think of that. With 4% of the population, the pharmaceutical companies make most of their money, most of their profits from America. That's not a good thing. Now, I think, by the way, pharmaceutical, I have great respect for these companies and for the people that run them. I really do. And I think they did one of the greatest jobs in history for their company, convincing people for many years that this was a fair system. And nobody really understood why, but I figured it out. For years, pharmaceutical and drug companies have said that research and development costs were what they are, and for no reason whatsoever. They had to be borne by America alone. Not anymore, they don't. This means American patients were effectively subsidizing socialist healthcare systems in Germany, in all parts of the European Union. They were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that. I see that with trade, too. European Union is in many ways nastier than China, okay? And we've just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards. They treated us very unfairly. They sell us 13 million cars. We sell them none. They sell us their agricultural products. We sell them virtually none. They don't take our products. That gives us all the cards, and very unfair. So they're going to have to pay more for health care, and we're going to have to pay less. That's all it is. And believe it or not, because it's really the world we're talking about, not just the European Union, but because it's the world, the numbers are for the healthcare company not as bad as you would think. They'll make the same. I think the healthcare companies should make pretty much the same money. I really don't believe they should be affected very much, because it's just a redistribution of wealth. It's a redistribution where it could be the same top line, but it's going to be distributed differently. Europe's going to have to pay a little bit more. The rest of the world's going to have to pay a little bit more, and America's going to pay a lot less. Again, because it's a much smaller population than when you think of the whole world. So basically what we're doing is equalizing. There's a new word that I came up with, which I think is probably the best word. We're going to equalize, where we're all going to pay the same. We're going to pay what Europe's going to pay. We're going to all pay. Now, there may be some countries in dire need, and I would be willing to sacrifice that and help them. But it's called most favored nation. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying the lowest price. That's the price that we're going to get. So remember that. So we're no longer paying 10 times more than another country. Whoever is paying the lowest price, we will look at that price and we will say that's the price we're going to pay. Most favored nations. That's what it is. One breast cancer drug costs Americans over $16,000 per bottle. But the same drug from the same factory, manufactured by the same company, is 1/6 that price in Australia and 1/10 that price in Sweden. 1/10 for the identical product. A common asthma drug costs almost $500 here in America, but costs less than $40 in the United Kingdom. So $40 in the United Kingdom, which is where this gentleman told me he paid a small amount for his shot. But think of that. So $40 versus $500 here. That's not even bad. There are much worse examples. And the weight loss drug, Ozempic, costs 10 times more in the United States than in the rest of the developed world. 10 times more. Why? Why? What did we do? Suckers. But we never had a president that had the courage to do this. And nobody knew the system like I do. I mean, I've gotten to know this system so well. And I don't think it's fair that it benefits Obamacare. Obamacare is a failure. It's not a good health care. It works. I made it work. I had an obligation to make it work, or an obligation to let it die. I chose that we had to make it work. I had to make it as good as possible. And I had a choice. I could have let it fail or make it as good as possible. As good as possible means it was still not very good, but it survived. And we did the right thing. But this makes everything work. And I don't want to have a bad form of health care work because of the fact I was able to cut drug prices by 80 or 90%. So we're going to maybe come up with something. I think this gives the Republicans a chance to actually do a health care that's much better than Obamacare and for less money, which if you guys would work on that along with Congress. But I do want to say that Democrats could have done this a long time ago. They have fought like hell for the drug companies, and they knew they were doing the wrong thing. And it's going to be very hard. I was just telling the leader and the speaker that it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to vote against the one big, beautiful deal. The greatest tax cuts in history, greatest everything, but now you have the big drug prices because that's going to be included. It makes that whole situation different from a scoring standpoint. I just told them, I called them up about this. I said, I'm going to do something that's going to be very monumental, and you're going to be scoring. You better tell your people that this is going to score really well. And then add hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs to your list also. But as big as the tariffs are, this is something that really hits quickly. 5 years ago, I signed an executive order to confront this disaster, but only confront it in a minor way. It was a good confrontation, but never to this extent. And it took people a little while to understand a very complicated system. But Joe Biden, without any knowledge of what he was doing, terminated the policy and then pretended to negotiate under a new system. And then you take a look, 5 out of the 10 drugs that he negotiated are now over 200% more expensive in America than the rest of the world, and far more expensive than when he even got involved. Much more expensive than when he got involved. Joe Biden's plan was as you know, because you wrote about it, you don't say it very loudly, but it was a very big failure, was his whole presidency. First, I'm directing the U.S. trade representatives and Department of Commerce to begin investigations into foreign nations that extort drug companies by blocking their products unless they accept bottom line and very low dollar amounts for their product, unfairly shifting the cost burden onto American patients. And we'll be taking a look at that very strongly. The biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to tell those countries, like those represented by the European Union, that, that game is up, sorry. And if they want to get cute, then they don't have to sell cars into the United States anymore. It's a very big subject. And they won't get cute, because I'll defend the drug companies from that standpoint. They were given a price by the European unions and other countries. This is what you do. This is what we're going to pay. We're not going to pay any more. Let America pay the difference, because there was a big shortfall. Let America pay it. And that's what we did, but we're not doing it anymore. Next, my administration will secure what we're calling most favored nations drug pricing. The principle is simple. Whatever the lowest price paid for a drug in other developed countries, that is the price that Americans will pay. And we're using the term other developed countries because there are some countries that need some additional help, and that's fine. I think that's very good. Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%. Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries. To accelerate these price restrictions and reductions, my administration will also cut out the middlemen. We're going to totally cut out the famous middlemen. Nobody knows who they are, middlemen. I've been hearing the term for 25 years, middlemen. I don't know who they are, but they're rich. That I can tell you. We're going to cut out the middlemen and facilitate the direct sale of drugs at the most favored nation price directly to the American citizen. So we're cutting out, Bobby, the middlemen. It's so important, right? You got to do that. They're worse than The drug companies, they don't even make a product, and they make a fortune. It's very smart business people, that I can tell you. If companies make no significant progress toward most favored nation pricing, which we will insist that they do, so I think I'm wasting time talking about it. We're going to insist upon it. And we'll insist, and we're going to help the drug companies with the other nations, because those other nations do a lot of trading with us. They need our trade, just like China needed us very badly. They need us just as badly. We will do whatever we have to with trade, just like we did some great things with trade with India and Pakistan. It really helped the situation, very heated situation. Could have lost millions of people, more than millions, I mean, many millions of people. And they want to do business with America, but we never used our powers that way. We never knew how. We never had people that knew how to do that. We'll also open up America's market to safe and legal imports of affordable drugs from other countries, putting dramatic downward pressure on prices. And if necessary, we'll investigate the drug companies, and we'll, in particular, investigate the countries that are doing this, and we will add it onto the price that we charge them for doing business in America. In other words, we'll add it on to tariffs if they don't do what is right, which is everybody should equalize. Everybody should pay the same price. And special interests may not like this very much, but the American people will. I am doing this for the American people. I'm doing this against the most powerful lobby in the world, probably the drug lobby, drug and pharmaceutical lobby. But it's one of the most important orders, I think, that's ever been signed, certainly with regard to health care or health in the history of our country, and it's an honor to be a part of it. And I'd like to ask Robert F. Kennedy to say a few words, please. Thank you.
RFK.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself, spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. Yeah. But he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country. And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people. We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. We spend in our country $1,126 per capita on drugs. In Britain, they spend about $240. They spend 1/5 of what we do. And this is true across Europe. And the drug companies, Europeans, if you ask them, it made no sense what they were saying. America has to pay for this innovation or it's not going to happen. President Trump is saying to our European partners, is you got to raise the amount that you're paying for those drugs and pay for your share of the innovation. That the United States is no longer subsidizing that. If the Europeans raise the price of their drugs by just 20%, that is $10 trillion. That can be spent on innovation, and the health of all people all across the globe is going to increase because we're going to have better products. So I'm just so grateful to be here today. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime. I have a couple of kids who are Democrats, are big Bernie Sanders fans, and when I told them that this was going to happen, they had tears in their eyes because they thought this is never going to happen in our lifetime, and we finally have a president who's willing to stand up for the American people. Thank you, and Dr. Oz.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy. This is the most powerful executive order on pharmacy pricing and healthcare ever in the history of our nation. And it's only happening because we have a president with the fortitude, the guts to stand up to the withering criticism and lobbying that's going to occur as soon as folks hear about the executive order. So on behalf of the child in Philadelphia who's got an autoimmune disease with a $1,000 a month drug, or the older woman in Los Angeles who's on a blood thinner who can't afford her copay, I want to thank President Trump. God bless you for having the guts to take on this industry. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about the details a little bit. And this is primarily about equalization, as President Trump said. It's about fairness. Think of NATO as a metaphor. When President Trump said, you've got to pay a little more so it makes sense for all of us, they came up, and the European countries contributed. The same thing we believe will happen in this situation. Most people who have thought about this process agree that it is patently unfair to tolerate the numbers that Secretary Kennedy and President Trump have reflected to you. On this chart to my left is a list of the 10 drugs that were negotiated in the IRA. Again, this is the bill, the law, that regulates a negotiation process. This is the best price that was able to be obtained by the Biden administration. And if you look at these numbers, they actually reflect how much on top of the most favored nation price was being paid by the United States. So the closest to me, and Bob, you can point to the Jardians, the closest one, 289%, the one that's closest to you. That means that we are paying in America 4 times more than that drug costs in other countries. Again, 100% is the baseline. It's 289% above that baseline. It goes all the way down to when we're paying 50% more than any other country. That's the range. As was pointed out by President Trump, half the time we're paying 3 times more than is paid in other countries. It doesn't make any sense for the system. That stated, President Trump has over and over again indicated, and Secretary Kennedy reflected as well, we want innovation. We want our technology partners doing the best they can to make the best solutions for drugs to cure as many people in America and around the world as possible. By getting our allies to pay a bit more, as they should be, and they should have for many years been doing, will course correct a problem that's gotten out of hand. And by doing that in a thoughtful, effective way, we're going to be able to get the pharmaceutical industry whole. Those jobs will still be here, will still be productive, will still be curing cancer and a slew of other ailments that plague humanity. America will still be the leader in this space, but we'll be paying the appropriate amount, the right-sized amount for those tasks. So over the next 30 days, the 4 of us up here, together with people standing in the back of this room who are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, are going to be approaching pharmaceutical companies to talk specifically about what we want the most favored nation price to be based on the best data we have. We're looking forward to a thoughtful interaction with these corporate leaders, many of whom we've spoken to and in quiet will agree the system is not right the way it is. They're patriotic Americans. They want what's right. But the fact that in my lifetime, as Secretary Kennedy said, for the first time, we have a thoughtful and aggressive approach thanks to President Trump on taking on the special interests, should give all Americans confidence that this is an administration that stands for fairness, and it should chill the waters for those who believe they can push us away from our North Star, which is to take care of the American people. Mr. President, God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jay, you want to go next?
Sure.
Yep.
So
All right.
I teach economics at Stanford as well as health policy. And one thing that's really, really simple in economics is that when you have a persistent price difference for the same product between 2 countries, there is something deeply wrong. And what President Trump has done is a historic measure that should have been done a long time ago. What we're going to do is make sure that those prices become much closer to equal, like a competitive market you'd expect. Right now what's happening is the American people are subsidizing in large fraction the research and development efforts for drug companies around the world by the higher prices that we pay. With this new order, Europe will share the burden of that. And in fact, if you may think of it as like as somehow it's like it's going after drug companies, actually it's helping drug companies. Because what we're also going to do with this order, what President Trump has done with this order, is he's said to European governments, look, if you are taking advantage of the drug companies by forcing them to charge very, very low prices, we're going to defend American drug companies in Europe. At the same time, we're standing up for the American consumer who's been paying far too high prices for far too long. I can go back decades to point to congressional reports after government report after government report of tremendously high drug prices, much higher than the rest of the world, and nothing has been done about it until this moment. And I'm really, really proud, President Trump, that you have done this. I'm really proud to be included in this and looking forward to the work ahead.
Thank you, Jay. Great. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the many doctors I've talked to about this very issue, thank you for taking the bull by the horns. Presidents on both sides of the aisle have talked about this and floated it and said they've wanted to do it, so you've had the courage to do it. Thank you. I've been a surgical oncologist at Johns Hopkins for 22 years, and I have seen patients suffer. We didn't take an oath to heal patients and then watch their life get ruined financially, with their home, mortgage, retirement, going down the drain with GoFundMe campaigns, raising money from church communities and synagogues and friends they haven't seen in 20 years to try to raise money for what? For a system where Americans have been getting ripped off by 10, 12, 15 times higher prices than we see in other countries. The fundamental problem in healthcare is that we've had non-competitive markets. We can do little things around the edges, or we can transform those markets to competitive markets, and that's what this executive order does today. Imagine buying a Ford for $175,000, a regular car, and then hearing that people in London are buying it for $10,000 every day, all day long. That is the craziness of this system. We're going to do everything we can at the FDA to support this executive order. It's transformative. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, everybody. It's I think it's a very important day. In many ways, you have, we'll start with the Houthis. We go to Pakistan and India. We go to what we did with China, the trade deal, and with UK. And by the way, many other deals are coming in very much. At a certain point, we'll just set the price because we know where we are. But we'll just set the price. But world trade is going to be terrific, and our country is going to be making a lot of money. Taxes are going to go down. Taxes are going to go down very, very substantially. But you look at all of the things that we've done, and now today I'm heading over. We'll see what we're going to do with respect to Iran. I think you have very good things happening there, too, by the way. I think can't have a nuclear weapon, but I think that they are talking intelligently. We're in the midst of talking to them, and they're right now acting very intelligent. We want Iran to be wealthy and wonderful and happy and great, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. So I think they understand that I mean business, and I think they're being very reasonable thus far. And don't underestimate Thursday in Turkey. President Erdogan is going to be a great host, and we are doing some work with him having to do with Syria, too, by the way. We're going to have to make a decision on the sanctions, which we may very well relieve. We may take them off of Syria because we want to give them a fresh start. But President Erdogan's asked me about that. Many people have asked me about that because the way we have them sanctioned, it doesn't really give them much of a start. So we want to see if we can help them out. So we'll make that determination. But I think you're going to have maybe a good meeting. You have the potential for a good meeting, that a meeting wasn't going to take place. I insisted that that meeting take place. And it is taking place. And I think you may have a good result out of the Thursday meeting in Turkey between Russia and Ukraine. and I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings, but I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess, if I think things can happen. But we got to get it done. We got to save 5,000 lives a week. 5,000 lives is really more than that. It's worse than that. And when you see and you don't want to see it, but when you see the satellite photographs of the battlefield with arms and legs and heads all over the place, separated by 30 yards from bodies, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So we're working very hard to see if we can end that bloodbath. Okay, there shouldn't be too many questions. It's been covered pretty well.
Mr. President, thank you for taking questions. Two quick ones for you. Starting on trade. If a longer-term deal is not reached with China at the end of these 90 days, can the American people expect those tariffs to go back up to 145%?
No, but they would go up substantially higher.
Okay, and then
You know, at 145, you're really decoupling because nobody's going to buy. But they can go, they got very high because of additional tariffs I applied during the course because of fentanyl and other things. But no, but they'd go substantially higher. Yeah.
And then on Qatar, Mr. President,
I think you will have a deal, however.
Okay, you're confident that there will be a deal. On Qatar, has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old. And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ballgame. You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane, it's like from a different planet. And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now. And we, when I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower. And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. And it ended up being a total mess, a real mess. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind. And they are. They're way behind. They were way behind. Another mess that I inherited from Biden. And it's going to be a while before we get them. And I think Qatar, who we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety. I think they, and very, very nicely, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership and for the leader, Qatar. And I think they knew about it because they buy Boeings. They buy a lot of Boeings. And they knew about it. And they said, we would like to do something. And if we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department, to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones. I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and others, we keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith. And I don't get it. Someday it'll be like Ronald Reagan. They decommission them. They get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane, and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane? after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
Mr. President, on the hostage, you said that the release of the American hostage, Eden Alexander, is a step in good faith to end this war. Do you expect any progress or perhaps announcement on ceasefire during your trip to the Middle East?
We hope that we're going to have other hostages released too, as you know. So when I met with the hostages 3 weeks ago that were there for quite a while, you remember the 10 people that came in, mostly young people. 1 or 2 were a little bit older. They were explaining the trials and tribulations. I mean, they went through hell. And I said, how many are there? They said 59. I said, that's a lot. I didn't realize, because we got a lot out. You know, we got a lot of hostages out, I think you will acknowledge. They said 59, but then they said, they followed that up by saying 59, of which 24 are living, the rest are dead. But the people whose son, mostly son, I think 1 daughter in this case, but mostly sons are there, or husbands are there, those people want the dead bodies as much as they want the live body. I have a mother that calls me, but came up to me when I first met her, and she said, sir, please get my son out. He's dead, but they have his body. And I asked her about that, and it's as though he were alive. The level of wanting that body back is the same. It couldn't be any more, as though he were alive. So, getting the bodies back is very...
All right. That's enough. We are done. It sounds like the pharmaceutical talk is over. But how was that, guys? Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Hope you're all having a good one here. Trump spoke for quite a while, didn't he? Wow, that was a long time Trump was on for. Market retreated. Seriously. SPY started pulling back pretty hard. That was funny whenever you guys said the market hates AFK or RFK. I was laughing. Had me cracking up. AK said that joke hurt me. Palantir was up 5% before open. Then it was down 2% just not too long ago. $5 before open. Then down 2%. Wow. That is quite the reversal, I must say. They like filled the gap back and then some. Filled the gap back and then some. Now I can't tell if I should buy the SPY, Demir said. Looks pretty good on the recovery here. Is this where we get the support bounce? We just had to turn Trump off and then I would excite everybody. That's all it was. I love the way it's moving back here. Back above 578.30, 578.50 was a good thing to see. Very solid to see. Bring back the watch list. Let's go back to some of the hotter stocks today. MU was pretty fire this morning. I'll wait for a pullback. Sounds good. As I look at the trend here, Demure, we got something like this going. I'm sure some people are looking at this too. Confirmation off this support would be awesome for you, Demure. Like a little bounce around 578.30, 578.50, that'd be perfect. When does the inflation data come in for April? That's coming out on Tuesday, tomorrow. Where the hell did my economic calendar go? Just wasn't open here. Tuesday, tomorrow, 1 hour before open. It's going to be a big event. Look at how they're expecting the inflation rate year over year to kind of stay the same, to jump slightly. I'll tell you what, I looked at this a couple weeks ago and the forecasts were a little bit higher. A couple weeks ago, I swear it said like 2.7, 2.8% right there. Look at how inflation's actually been dropping, guys. You know how everybody's like, oh my God, inflation, inflation. Look at how the actual inflation rate went from 3% at the beginning of the year all the way down now to 2.4%. Testing actually its lowest levels since like COVID. So pretty insane to say. So that'll definitely be a big reading. I expect inflation to probably jump a little bit. I also think that could be a bit bearish for the market, but I could always be wrong. Jump from 2.4 or 2.8. 2.4 is where it's at now. $2.8 is the core. That might be where you got a little confused. I'm looking at the non-core. Man, SPY. Looking pretty good. I like the way it's setting up here. This would be awesome to get that little recovery coming in today after the dip and getting out to actually a new high of the day. It would be pretty awesome at some point. Come on, Tessie. Sitting around resistance here, 319.50 to 320. I bet there's a lot of sellers out there. There on the book map. Let's jump over to it. Can't fucking talk today. 320 resistance. Yeah, 104,000. Shares. Even overhead, 325 has even more. A lot of shares there. Go check on Boeing. I know Trump mentioned Boeing a lot. Sitting around 197. He didn't necessarily mention them in a good way, but was just saying things. I'm not sure, Mason. I turned it off. He started talking about random shit, so I turned it off. He quit talking about pharmaceuticals and started talking about dead bodies and stuff. Excuse me. Chase said he's about to sign the orders. God. Having problems today. Let's go see if I'll pull him back up. If he's done talking about the crap. Oh my god. You gotta really search to find this crap.
Their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received
It's
anything?
not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Here is
Whoa!
the...
We turned it on at just the right time.
Thank you very much, everybody.
What's up, adventure?
Thank you very much.
Dude, you'll never get this adventure. I have to go to the damn store tonight, man. It's gone. I ran out. Literally last night. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to go get it. So that's a rip for me today, man. Sadly. All right, now they're done. Yeah. See, we ran in there just for that. Yeah, time to re-up for sure, man. I got to go get some tonight though for sure. I'm going to lose it. Spy around 580. Maybe I'll eat a pork steak for breakfast. We'll call it even. I do have a pack of bacon in there, Tangy. I do have a pack of bacon, but I don't have the time to make it. Go check out Tessie again. Still not above resistance. Come on. Nvidia trying to find some support. Getting pretty close to 120 on the chart. It bounced pretty close there earlier. Let's go, Ivan. I'd rather see some nice bullish action come in. 20 pounds for 20 bucks, really? Wow. Demir says, is this the pullback I've been waiting for? You said that, though, whenever it was, like, right here earlier. So it's really not a... I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I'm not quite sure. I thought since you said that earlier there, you would try to wait for it to fall more. Trust your gut, though, Demir. It'd be pretty cool to test the trend and bounce off it. 580 is a pretty big resistance. I'm gonna take these off. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Some confirmation, right? I'm like, where are we going to get it? Palantir is almost back positive. Oh, I see what you mean. For a second, I thought you meant they were coming all the way back to to like where they opened. How about AMD? Will a bounce come in? I could see it. I could definitely see an AMD bounce coming soon. Sonia says Uber. You know, looking at AMD harder. I'd love to see a bounce around like 106. That would be pretty awesome. Down to my next support and then right back up. That'd be nice. I'm not saying it's going to bounce now necessarily, but looking like a base is trying to form. Yeah, Uber 3%. You guys weren't kidding. Looks fire as it's moving up here. The high of pre-market's up around 87.50. I also see some resistance coming up. Right around like 85, 80, maybe 86. Nation said, I've been buying Fidelity all day, no problem. Everyone's complaining about it. LYFT, are they moving with Uber? No way, really? All right, we're covering up pretty well. Try turning it on and off. I didn't know if you were kidding or being serious. It sounds like you're kidding, but it might not be a bad try if you're having problems. Although if you exit it, you might not get back in, I hear. That's one problem I've heard. Better not log off Fidelity. You can't log back in. Yeah, that's what everyone's saying today. Seriously. Degenerate Merc said, today is confirmation for me. It's time to say bye-bye to Fidelity. I've been trying to log in continuously since 10 mins before the market opened. Wow. You're still not in? Gosh, I know some other people at least got in, but man, sorry to hear that. What do you guys use mainly? I'm thinking of ditching Robinhood. Let's go with Thinkorswim. Pretty fire. Interactive Brokers, Thinkorswim, TradeStation. Those are the three I always say to get. They all have really good customer support. They all work really good. You get pretty good fills on all of them. And yeah, I would say even Interactive Brokers and TradeStation are even better than Thinkorswim. But yeah, I would go with one of those three. It's hard to go wrong. There are some that are just as good, if not better than those ones, but those are like the three big names. It'll be pretty easy for you to deal with. Webull, no, not Webull. That's another like beginner broker, you know, if that makes sense, right? I don't know how to explain that. It's came a long way, don't get me wrong, but they still have problems even. Like, I see people in the chat all the time complaining about them as well, but they do have they don't have near as many of those like Robinhood. And I'm out. You're down 20 bucks. Let's go. Mon said, what's wrong with Webull? It just, you don't really get the best fills there. Again, it's not really like, you don't have like the most options on the platform either. It's not like near as good as like, let's say Thinkorswim or Interactive Brokers, like I said, or TradeStation or something like that. I think those are just a lot more advanced platforms where you can actually like plot the options and do everything that you want there. I'm not a big Webull user. I have not used them in years. I know that they've changed and they've added things, but I'm just giving my own opinion. If you don't like it, it's okay. It's the platform most new people use that I see, so most people graduate to something else at some point from there. From what I've seen in, you know, our own group and everything like that, most people end up ditching Webull then for something else even, so. All right, QQQ, looking good. Sitting here around 503, 504. See if it can hold the base. What do you mean? Yeah, Thinkorswim definitely does trailing stops for sure. Joe says, Thinkorswim. Oh, you said on options. Let me triple check that one, but Joe said Thinkorswim, most people can't use it. What do you mean? Why can't they use it? Oh, I got you, Joe. Yeah, it's all right. You know, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just giving my opinion. It's okay if you think Webull's better or whatever. That's fine. I think that it's more complicated because there's more things for you to use. And hey, you know, if it's too complicated for you, then that's okay. You know, I'm just giving my opinion though. All right, NASDAQ. QQQ looking pretty fire. $500, $502. I really do like the way it's moving here though. Forming at the base, holding well. This is a pretty cool range coming up here. This will be a big area to hold here at like the top end of this box. 503, 503.50. Continue to see a good hold and bounce close to here. Maybe retest of this next upper resistance where it's just double topped. I'm sure some people are going to be looking to trade it back up into that range. Looking for like a head and shoulders pattern to form. It might not form, but I'm sure that's what a lot of people are looking to do there. Just give me one more God candle on Sound. Soundhound, S-O-U-N. $11.20, not terrible. 23% though, my God. You want another God candle on it? It's up 23%. I'll tell you what though, Soundhound looks pretty awesome on the daily. There's a huge gap to fill on the daily chart. $11.75 to $14, not terrible. What's up, Rook? Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I haven't used the trailing stop on there in a little while. Could have sworn it was, though. Try and challenge yourself. Oh, yeah. And don't get... Yeah, I mean... Let's see. NASDAQ. 502. Very nice support. Checking in on Tesla. Nice 320 resistance. Still holding up. I've been watching this level for like 30 minutes. Or longer. And it just won't break out above here. Tom, what's your chart look like on SoFi? I've been following it since it hit 8, and it's at like 14 today. Still room to go this year? SOFI. I've been following it since it hit 8. Still more room this year? Yeah, there could definitely be more room this year. 100% on SoFi. Yeah, I know it's already up a lot. But like, let's just say throughout the course of this year, we're only in May. Let's just say that SoFi even rejects its resistance here. Pulls back, bounces off support. And then like during like July and August, it pops up towards like 18 as like the market explodes or something. I mean, anything's possible on the price action, but even with that whole chop mixed in, you know, we still have plenty of time up this year. Yeah, I think that there's plenty of room based on the chart, 100%. It's just, it looks like it's actually been following the market up pretty well since like April 9th, Wednesday, April 9th's bottom. I remember Trump announced something nuts that day, ended up exploding. There's been so many things announced since then, but might have been the talk about the tariff scaling back or something, but... Or was that the pause? That might have been the pause that we heard about. It's wild to say that that's been like a month and a half ago already, but... Or like a month and a few days. Kind of weird. What's your thoughts on Wayfair? They gonna run further with the China stuff? W, right? Wow. This recent big money trader, they got in on 324. Looks like they were just a little early. Man, too bad. W looking pretty good, though. Barrick Gold? No way, did they really? Their ticker? Wow, they really did. Yay. Yes. Maybe they did it just for me, Tangy. You know why I say that? Because every time on the videos we go to type in Barrick Gold, You have to wait for it to come up, then click it down here on TradingView. Because, like, the gold, like, the physical gold, like, the CFDs pop up. That's funny. I did not know that. Thank you, though, Tangy. I did not notice that. Looking at the watch list. RH is all the way at the top. Restoration Hardware. No, I don't mean Robinhood. Restoration Hardware. 17%. Wow. I know we've been looking at a firm a little bit. Man, we're seeing some great growth stock action today. AK was just looking for it. That's funny. You were like, oh no, they went out of business. No, of course not, but that'd be funny if someone thought that. Like they couldn't find the ticker and then they were like, no. You feel for us with the blues, man, Rook? I know, I'm still sad. You had to just jog my memory, didn't you, Rook? $360 on App Lovin'. APP 8.2%. As gold miners dip, B is my new target to build out a massive position on, maybe 500 shares or so. That'd be one of the best ones, probably. You know, they're highly touted. Sounds like a ringtone. I feel like I'm playing like The Sims or something. That's funny, you thought your phone was ringing? AK said, damn, the likes today are really bad. We have like 38. Sometimes YouTube, you have to like refresh it probably, AK. Actually doing pretty good today. Appreciate the likes today, guys. Almost hitting 40. Let's go. There's some financial gurus who say the mining companies are the next big thing, but I don't listen to the gurus. Oh, you said 7, yeah. Yep. I knew it was lying. Now we're at 45. Thanks for saying that, AK. Appreciate that. Now we're going to hit 50. Hell yeah. See the watch list again. I'm going to look for stuff that's not necessarily growth, but just bigger stocks here that are up. Amazon's like leading the way, 7.3% out of the Mag 7. Pull up the Mag 7 chart. Look at Nvidia down here. Wow, what a move. Amazon's good, but they're up 7%, but they kind of pulled back over the past 20 minutes or so. Tangi, if a squeeze happens with silver, I will be so happy. I'll say it might be a bit far-fetched, though, but I'm with you. Yeah, AK, that is kind of funny. I would have thought the same thing.
Like a Hellcat.
Love that Nvidia action, though. 4.20% pretty much. Let's go. Chill Ghost is like 4.20%. Hey, that's kind of funny. I didn't even, that's kind of funny. I didn't even think about it. Demir said, Tom, do you use the supply and demand algo on TradingView? I use the StockedUp algo. Let me check. Uh-oh, my TradingView's broke. I'm gonna refresh it real quick.
Like a Hellcat.
I know I normally use the overbought and oversold more. Are you talking about on the StockedUp algo, Demir, or like a totally different one? Are you talking about the support and resistance lines? If it's a different one, then no. Cloud needs AMD to follow Nvidia. Yeah, I got you. No, I don't use that. Since it's separate now. I don't really use anything too much. Besides, like, Bookmap. And, of course, like, support and resistance. Some trends. My own mind, really, is all I use. I don't really even use the StockedUp algo too much. I really like it for the correlation, though, and the stats in the bottom right. But I know that stuff. I know that stuff a lot of people do like to use, though.
Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants.
Come on, Tesla. Let's see if we can get through 320 today. It's so stuck. It just came up for another test and is pulling back again. Sold the 12.5 put on SoFi. Let's go. You said you're happy getting assigned at 12.5? Very nice. Right around recent support, not terrible. Not a bad spot. You're willing to average in. Pizza Hut got to you. Did you eat it this morning or last night? Oh, last night. I'm wondering if I should get Mickey D's. Ooh, Mickey D's. You have Tom excited, but Tom can't get it. Well, I could order it in, but I have some Jimmy Dean. So Nvidia's moving. Is it up still? Okay, okay. It's been really roaring back to life here. Advanced Money Destroyer. Right on resistance. Do you see QQQ to the upside or the downside? Let's see the NASDAQ here. It's right in the middle of the range. I see it more up. I'm looking for it to kind of bounce up somewhere around this range that I'm marking out here. I guess that was kind of a dumb way to do it. It's the same color. Hang on. I can see it bouncing somewhere in here back up. I actually think that the way the market's dipping isn't too bad. Like, for example, like we're just kind of pulling back for like another rip, I think. In my opinion, I'm definitely watching for a base to form somewhere down here. Like on SPY, this looks like almost picture perfect right now. The hell? Tom, can you... Oh, I got you. BTC dropped to 103K, Jake said. BTC USD, $102,600. Bitcoin, down 1%, not terribly bad. Martin said, Tesla, what's up, Martin? Looking at Tessie here on the recovery. Did it? Oh my gosh, it's about to get through 320, finally. Come on, let's get through. It's been taking so long to get through on Tesla. My gosh.
Everything changes.
320, that's a big level there. Go check Ford. Bouncing around 1040 to 1050. Okay, not terrible.
Life.
No, I'm very friendly. Manny getting hyped up in the chat. There we go. Hell yeah. For Tessie, too.
Life.
Wonder why Netflix is getting their ass beat so bad. Felt they recovered well after the overseas production tariff announcement. I think that might have hurt them, didn't it? Whenever that got announced, I can't remember. Wasn't that right here? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought for some reason, though, that hurt Netflix. I'm probably wrong. I know WBD I thought was affected then too. Maybe not negatively though. My memory, I didn't pay too much attention to those cinematic companies during that time, but I do remember covering it. They dipped for a bit, but ended up recovering. Gotcha. Okay, okay. Netflix might make a new low of the day. Down 3%. Definitely not sharing in that gap up and hold today, that's for sure. They're definitely turning over. But they have been doing very, very well lately, too. So I guess it's not that upsetting. And Tesla's still not above 320. It's right there, though. Yeah, Purdy, you made your own YouTube channel, right? I think that's kind of maybe what did it. AK said, I don't know if it's just me, but Tesla seems like a ticking time bomb to the downside. Tesla. 320 rejection there, not too bad. Ticking time bomb. I sure hope not, but I'm with you. It has that look to it today on the chart. It just got up to pretty much where it started to fall at open. I sure hope not, but based off the current look, I definitely lean that way. You know, we can actually start to draw a bottom trend up here. Isn't really bad. Ascending triangle. Is this an ascending triangle or a descending triangle? Yeah, it might be ascending. I don't look at those setups too much like that. Not the specific names. I always say, fuck the real name. I'm always like, hey, you know, if we start to get a good break up and out, then try to trade it up and out. You know, other times I see, you know, it'll start to reject down and out of it. So if we see a rejection out of the trend, I'll be watching it down. You know, if we see like a good pop up through resistance, then definitely be watching it back up. But I always like to say it that way rather than just like putting a name right on it. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna find the technical name for it here. Yeah, it would be more ascending right now. Is it time to buy deck calls? Mike's been talking about deck for a while. I don't know. I wish he would have bought it when the big money entered. It was time to buy it, really, like a week or two ago. I'm not sure that I really want to enter right here. The big money play expires soon. You'd have to modify it, of course. Or, you know, obviously, you might not be totally looking at the big money play now, but... All right, guys. I think we're going to call the stream there. I appreciate you guys sticking with us today. Had a pretty fun one here to start off the week. Let's go. No problem, Tiger. Thanks for, or Mr. Wu, I should say. I always want to call you Tiger, but appreciate all you guys for being here today, and girls and gals, of course. Thanks for joining up. Got a lot of price action here today. A lot of chop back down, unfortunately. Still watching SPY for possible support bounce. You know, we'll see if it can hold. This little red candle looks pretty rough here on the 1 minute. Wonder if we got some news. Starting to hit the wire at all. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining up. Pretty good start to the week with the gap up, I'd say.